Last year, I finished shooting my short film Gamer Boy for a budget of $10,000. But prior to this, I was used to shooting short films with $0 budgets. And even though $10,000 is still considered low budget film, jumping from $0 to $10,000 in filmmaking made a huge difference for me. So I want to share things that I learned from my experience so that if you have the same situation and you're jumping from low budget to big budget, you don't make the same mistakes that I do. So here's 5 things I learned shooting a short film with $10,000. Number 1, get a producer. Get a producer, get a producer, get a producer. This is something that I neglected for so long because my budgets were smaller, so I was usually able to handle everything myself. But man, a producer would have saved my life if we got it for this film. The reason why I didn't get a producer was 1, I wanted all the budget to go towards gear and the crew and everything to make the film as best as possible. And 2, with my producing experience before, I thought it would be something I'd be able to handle, but this was just a whole nother level. My goal is to be a writer and director, and producing is something that I've always done because I had to. Given the bigger budget, it definitely would have been beneficial for me to grab a producer because I was doing pretty much everything by myself prior to filming. Before we even got to the first day of set, I was already extremely burnt out. I was juggling communicating with everybody. I was trying to figure out how to get the money, how I was gonna send the money, booking the locations, costumes. I was handling contracts. I was focused on so many little things as a producer that I didn't get to focus and prepare myself for when I was actually directing. Once you get to bigger budget production, you're definitely going to want to regulate your task and hand that off to someone else if possible, because playing multiple hats on a bigger budget project, it just gets very tiresome. I mean, it's possible. We still finished the film, but I don't think I was at my best directing performance because I was burnt out prior. So yeah, if you can, get a producer. Get someone to handle all of that stuff. Because if you want to be a director, you just want to focus on directing. Please, dear God, get a producer. Number 2, getting the right budget for your film. So like I said before, prior to shooting Gamer Boy, all my other films were very low budget, and the highest budget being $3,000, which was for my film Luxor. And while $10,000 was the most amount of money I've ever had to make a film, the scope of Gamer Boy was just far greater than the amount of money that we had. Making Luxor $3,000 gave me confidence that I could make something with a very low budget and still make something really great. But the learning curve with that is that I wrote something that required a way bigger budget and tried to condense it down into a smaller budget. Even though I thought I had a bigger budget, that budget wasn't enough. That makes sense. So basically, while I made Luxor for $3,000, if I had a $10,000 budget with Luxor, that would have served a far greater purpose than it would have filming Gamer Boy with $10,000, because Gamer Boy should have been maybe a $20,000, $30,000, or $40,000 short film with everything we had. So even though I had the biggest amount of money I've ever had to make a film, that money would have been a lot better doing a much more simple project to enhance it to its maximum ability versus making Gamer Boy and barely scraping by with what I need. So finding the right budget for your film is really important, because you can make a film with any budget, but the level of greatness it could be depends on the project scope itself, and you want to get a budget that aligns with that. This video is sponsored by Screenwrite. Screenwrite is the most intelligent screenwriting software on the market, made by me and my best friend Jacob, mostly Jacob. It uses 3 layers of intelligence to make sure your script has no mistakes. First is our grammar checker. Our grammar checker catches typos, grammar errors, and punctuation mistakes with 100% certainty, while never changing your tone or voice, only what's objectively wrong. Next is our story logic engine. Our logic engine continuously analyzes your screenplay for internal consistency. If a plot hole, contradiction, mistake, or broken rule appears anywhere, Screenwrite will flag it instantly. Lastly is Q. Q is your writing partner. Chat with him to explore ideas, break through writer's block, and think more clearly about your story. Q guides your thinking without ever rewriting your voice, all at a fraction of the price of other screenwriting software with all of their features and more. Screenwrite doesn't do any writing for you. It's your words, your story, perfected. Click the link below for a 1-month free trial with no purchase necessary. Now back to the video. Number 3, make sure your crew and you are on the same page. For most of my projects, I have worked with my DP tree. Usually we work hand in hand in creating the shot list, but this time, because I was producing, we didn't have time to do that. So while I was able to create the storyboard in Animatic, Tree actually was the one that had to create the shot list. His shot list was based off of the storyboard in Animatic that I sent him, so I thought that him seeing that and creating the shot list based off of that would work cohesively and that we would be on the same page, because he was visually seeing what I had my storyboard artist draw out. But this was not the case. While we're on set, every time I would describe a shot, it would result in a 3 to 5 minute conversation of figuring out what I actually want. While 3 minutes doesn't seem like a lot, when you're doing that for like most of your shots on set, it quickly kills time. And that's why for all of our shoots, we were behind and we ended up staying a couple hours extra overtime. We just weren't in sync in this project, and not being in sync really cost us precious time, and because we lost so much time, it ended up lowering the quality of work of the final project. So make sure you're in sync with your DP and your crew, because on film, time matters. The more time you waste, the more money you lose. Number 4, fight scenes require extra time. The fight scenes were split into 2 parts. There was an adult fight scene and the kids fight scene. Before we got to shooting, both parties were practicing on their own, and they were sending me videos and getting my input. For the children's fight scene, due to timing and everything, I was not able to go on set with Tree to practice the angles that we wanted to get. But for the adult fight scene, we're able to get on set like once or twice, but to be honest, we weren't able to get extensive practice with the camera angles with the fight scenes. But I did know that I wanted a lot of God view shots for the jiu-jitsu sequences of the adult fight scenes, and I knew all around I was going to stick with the basic like 3-point coverage, and that's what we did for the most part. So for one, if we're able to get on set with the practices, I think that would have enhanced the fight scenes a lot better. And 2, on set shooting is split up into 2 phases. One was all the dialogue scenes, and the second half would be dedicated to all the fight scenes. And this was for 2 reasons. For the adult scenes, we only had the location rented for 12 hours, and for the kids scenes, child actors could only work a certain amount of time, so we had even less time with that. So we had to split it into 4 hours and 4 hours. So obviously, due to the budget and due to the time restraints of working with the child actor, our fight scenes were down to a limited amount of time, and I was hoping that with just getting basic coverage, we'd be able to get everything done efficiently. And that was not the case. Long story short, we ended up having to cut out the whole 3rd act of the adult fight scene, which kind of ruins the film, to be honest, because everything is contingent on that. Without that whole 3rd sequence, the film doesn't feel complete, and that's one of the main reasons why it's not released. And then for the children's fight scene, it was just not as good because there was so much less time. With those 2 things, the fight scenes needed a significant more amount of time, not just with the practice, but with like renting out the space for a longer period of time, and even maybe a second day dedicated to all of that. It sucks. Everyone put in a lot of work for the fight scenes, but unfortunately it just didn't go accordingly. So if you're shooting fight scenes, take those things into consideration because those things are really important. And number 5, adapt. It was very early on into filming when I realized that a lot of the things I listed earlier were going to affect the film, and it wasn't going to be as great as I wanted it to be. And due to this fact, I had to make a decision in my mind. I went from wanting to make the best short film that I could to let me get all the essential assets I can to tell a cohesive story, but also let me grab really amazing bits and parts so I could create an awesome trailer and pitch deck. And truthfully, that was my mindset switch while we're filming, because things were going wrong very early on, and I could tell that it was not going to be what I wanted. Instead of getting depressed and getting sad and calling the whole project quits, I still wanted to finish this project, but let me make it the best situation that I can. And trust me, when you're in those moments when you're like, oh shoot, it's not gonna turn out like I wanted, it's extremely easy to fall into depression and to just kind of want to give up on the whole project. But don't ever give up. If you're in it, you can't show that you're stressed, you can't show that you're sad, you can't show that you're disappointed, you can't show that you're angry. The only thing that matters is the mission. And the mission is to get the film done and get the things that you need from it, because it's the art that you make at the end of the day that's important. Just make the best you can with the cards that you're dealt, and that's all you can do, and have a positive attitude. If I didn't adapt, we wouldn't have anything at all. And while I didn't end up finishing the project and it's probably not going to be released, I still got a lot of things from it that I wanted that will serve useful to me in the future. If you end up giving yourself a bad hand in the beginning, you just got to work with what you got and make the best possible thing you can. And that was one of the biggest things I could have done for this project. Okay, so I filmed this video like a couple of months ago, and for some reason only the outro was missing, so I'm doing it now. But anyways, the same points still stand. So at the end of the day, the film didn't turn out as planned, which is just what happens in filmmaking. Sometimes you fail. There was for sure a lot of moments of greatness in my film, and I do think that the good outweighs the bad, but the bad is bad enough that it cheapens the whole product. And if I had known these things prior to filming, we would have gotten a much better product. Anyways, you live and you learn. Like I said in the beginning, I wanted to share this knowledge with you just in case you're in my situation, so you can learn from my mistakes, so hopefully you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Peace out.